I just scared Cameron by telling him I have 20 pages. It's only 4. But I may get out of his script because after the surgery, I am very emotional and I am losing track of things like memory and things like that, so it's a good thing I wrote it down. So I hope I don't detour from the 4 pages too much. So I hope everyone can hear me. So my name is Iris Alvarado, and I am going to talk to you about a recent experience that was not on my bingo card. So on February 27th of this year, I was reborn. I went through a major surgery, open heart. I have a nice 6-inch scar. And along the way, a life-changing experience that will probably have an impact on me for the rest of my life. The thing is, for the last 20 years, I have been visiting a cardiologist. One time on my way to work, my heart decided to go bananas, and a few days later, I was diagnosed with subventricular tachycardia. For me, the weird thing is this thing comes up about once a year. Most of the time when I am running, on a nice, beautiful day, can be hot, can be cold, always sunny, and I am in that runner zone. The day has a different field, and as soon as I realize all of that, kaboom, it just goes out of whack. So typically once a year. But about 4 years ago, during a routine echocardiogram, I had a diagnosis of mitral valve regurgitation. And since you all know that now everything is my chart, so you get the results before the doctor, so I did what most of us do. I Googled. I Googled. And I almost cried. You will need a heart transplant. You will need a external heart machine. Even though it was from a legit site, such as Mayo Clinic. To my luck, the doctor decided to retire, but he wanted to see some patients, including me, so I felt special to talk to. During that meeting, I asked him, what does this mean? He's like, oh, don't worry about it. When you're 80, you will need a pacemaker, right? So I was relieved, but I still have that doubt, right? Well, I went to my second cardiologist. We were not a fit. I am what I consider a very educated and advocating patient. And when I started to ask questions, you know that some doctors, like, I am the doctor, you know nothing, right? So we were not a fit. So here you go. At that point, I decided I had enough, and I decided to go to Cleveland Clinic after, well, I kind of decided, but then I talked to John about it. But the decision was made. If you have never been there, they run that place like an army. It was like appointment after appointment, boom, 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 boom. So there I met my third cardiologist. We talked for over an hour. I'm like, yes, not the 15 minutes that you get, right? I had an hour with him. Again, I advocated for myself, and I told him, I am not your typical patient. You need to think outside the box. You need to think outside the bell curve. For you that don't know, in statistics and math, there is this thing, it's a graph that looks like a bell. Depending how they do the range, typically the first 20% is flat, between 20 and 80, it has a bell curve, and then from 80 to 100 is against flat. So most of us are rating between that 20 and 80%, because that's where we fall, and that's what you will hear from the doctors. So that's what the bell curve is. Few months later, I was doing a whole new set of testing, including a VO2 max, where I am on the treadmill with probes all over the place, a mask, and like, yes. Well, true to me, I passed all the tests. My VO2 max was a 54, which for me meant I could probably do a 3-hour marathon. And I was already at 3:45 with a VO2 max of 42. So 54, that was a huge increase. Around that time, again, I was gaining weight. I had difficulty running because I am the survivor of Alpha, Delta, Omega, COVID, right? So most of my symptoms, and then on top of that, thyroid. So most of my symptoms were related to that. They were kind of like, you have COVID and you have thyroid. That means that's why you're tired, that's why you're gaining weight. Well, the doctor decided to retire, to move to another location. So here I am to my 4th cardiologist. This person ended up being the one that saved my life because she was the first one. She was the first one to really listen and think outside that bell curve. From all the 4 cardiologists, she was the only woman. The other 3 were male. Nothing against you guys, but sometimes you guys need to listen. So in April of last year, I had my first meeting with her virtually, right? And I once again brought up what does mitral valve regurgitation means. And she decided to think outside the box, and she said, let's do another test. Let's do a transesophageal echocardiogram, which is basically a probe that they introduce through your throat to look at the heart in a 3D way. So they have a better view of your valves. The summer came and went. Then I was wrongfully terminated in September. And 2 days before Christmas, I was told I needed open heart surgery. And it needed to be as soon as possible because both valves were bad. So think about this, you have a flow going through you. My mitral valve probably have about 50% of that flow coming back. My tricuspid valve was less, but it still had a backflow. So honestly, I don't know how I was running. I remember that during that conversation, she said, can I bring your family here? And I said, no, I tell them when I go out. And to be honest, I don't think that I grasped the seriousness of the situation, right? As I am a project manager, so I'm like, you get a problem, now you're thinking about plan A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? That's how I was. But on the way out, I already had a surgeon name, and I sat down in the waiting room and I told John and the kids, I cannot tell you what they felt because we haven't really talked about it. Maybe it's one of those things you want to put in the back burner. Then we drove home, and the sunset was beautiful. And because we're coming from east to west, you get a longer sunset, right? So trying to think about how I'm going to tell my parents in Puerto Rico, right? Especially your mom. Very difficult conversation. So true to myself, I started to prepare. I had a notebook with a lot of questions. I forgot to bring it today, but a lot of things to do. Will, advance directive, get in touch with the kids' teachers when it was time to do so. Because in my head, my plan D for death, was the plan that I needed to prepare for. What you don't know is during these conversations with the surgeon in early January, he took the time to answer all my questions. Between surgeries, he took the time to answer all my questions. But you know what I paid more attention to? The 0.01% rate, fatality rate. Why? I had a difficult 2025, right? Lost my job and all of this. And as an engineer in a corporate world, companies are always paying more attention to the negative than the positive. So I prepare for that. Maybe this is news for my family because I kept things quiet. From the diagnosis day until the surgery day, oh my goodness, wasn't I praying? From the time I woke up to the time I went to bed. I'm like, man, dude, if you wanted me to pray, why you didn't say so, right? If you really wanted me to pray, why do I have to go through that, right? Well, maybe he did. and I didn't listen. During that time, I continued running. I continued meeting with friends because I had a D-Day, right? At that time, I had a date where I could possibly go to the afterlife. And it was kind of nice in a way, knowing when your D-Day or expiration is going to be. Which is weird because, we don't know when we are born and we don't know when we're going to die. But this time it's like, I need to prepare. So when that day came, everything kind of like started to move really, really fast. On February 5th, that's when I was told on the date. It was going to be February 27th. On February 8th, I was here. That was the last time I was in the temple, in the church. And I remember that Reverend Donna wasn't presiding that day, but true to us, they put me in the middle, right? You all put those hands on me. And the picture that I had was the Navi in Avatar. When they're all together chanting and praying to the tree. The tree for me resembled God. You guys were surrounding me, right? That's the closest thing I can think of. I did my last race on February 21st with a friend of mine that I have been chatting. She happens to be a nurse. She helped me compiling the list of questions. And it was more like a let it all out, right? I have been talking to the family, but having a conversation with the kids about death doesn't truly go the way you wanted it. And I don't think that John wanted to really talk about it either. So here's my friend and me in the middle of the forest talking about this. My mom arrived a few days later on the 24th, and for the next 2 days, I was doing a lot of tests. John arrived the day before with the kids. They drove. We had our dinner. I tried to enjoy every single thing. It's like, which is weird, right? Things that happen every day, you don't pay attention, but then you could die, and now all of a sudden you're paying attention to every single little thing, right? On Friday, 27, I was at the hospital at 5:30. By 5:45, I was already changing my gown. By 6, my mom came with some holy oil, so she anointed me, and we pray as a family. And I was trying to hold my tears back, so I didn't want the kids to have that last look at me, right? And then after that, things started to move way too fast for my plan. It was like one thing after the other, right? Oh, you're going to have 2 hours to prepare. So you're like, no. By 6:15, I was being carted out. And I remember seeing those 3 faces and my mom's. And I tried to engrave those in my heart. And I pray to be allowed to see those again. When I got to the next room, I was supposed to get IV. Did not happen. They were already ready in the operating room, so here I go. Now I'm on the hallway, and this is where the miracle happens. I kept praying, and I think that at that point, I don't know if you can call it give up, but you just finally gave up to God. And I say, make your will. I'm not going to keep fighting, right? If it's your will that I die, I please ask you to take care of the kids and my parents. But also, you have too many comedians up there. You don't really need me, so it would be nice if you keep me down here for a little bit. Irian is graduating. Arturo is going to miss being with me during the weekend and sleeping with Monkey. Then all of a sudden, at this point, the doctors were so paying attention to my bowels being replaced. I'm like, So I started to pray, please God, make it repaired. I want my own bowels. And at that point, I started to feel this intense pain, which I had felt before, but this one was different. And I said, if this is your will of you doing the miracle, I will tolerate the pain. So I continue praying, go back inside the room, and I think that about 7 o'clock, before they prepare you, they ask your name, your age, what you're there for. And again, I reminded the surgeon, valve replacement, and no, valve repair. Then true to me, I was still giving orders. So I had already talked to the anesthesiologist, and I said, give me a 1 minute heads up because I need to pray again. And during that prayer, I was dead for the next few hours. Literally, like I can tell you that all about it, what they do to really stop your heart, but you will get bored. Few hours later, I woke up in the ICU as they were pulling the breathing tube out. And it may have been engraved in my soul or something. The first thing out of my mouth was to give grace for another chance of life. I had to hold tears because, you have an incision, you have a new heart, kind of, right? So I didn't want to make my heart upset. And then, of course, I was high on all those good drugs. The legend says that I was praising God for the rest of the day, asking to see the kids, talking in Spanish. Apparently, I was joking, and of course, saying incoherent things. But to make the story shorter, I went home a week later. So you want to hear more about it, just let me know, and I will tell you all about it. Apparently, there are some videos of stuff being taken out that I allegedly agreed to. I don't remember. Irian has a picture of me being, But this is what I want you to remember from this story. So I have 8 items. Advocate. When you go to your doctor, you need to advocate for yourself. Just because they are a doctor, no one knows your body like you do. You need to really advocate. If you have the money and the means, have a will or advance directive. This is something that John and we have been talking since we met. So the process was fairly easy for us because we had already decided on most of things, but there was some stuff that we still needed to talk. And you all know when there is money involved, things get more complicated. I was cleaning the house like crazy, like getting rid of things that I didn't think John was going to need. So the lesson from that was buy what you need. We need to stop the consumerism. It was like so many things that we donated, that we put on the recycle bins, and that we throw in the trash. How many of you have a favorite cologne, dress, or shoes? Come on. I'm going to challenge you to use them tomorrow. Every day is a special day. Don't leave it for the special day because that day may never come. So I challenge you guys to, if they don't match with your clothes, who cares? Just use it. I had the blessing of knowing my possible expiration day, but that doesn't normally happen. Live to love, to be free, to help others, and to have grace. Enjoy your family, even if they drive you crazy. Try to don't get upset about things. I think that I have changed a little bit on that, but if you ask my family, they may tell you otherwise. I'm trying to get rid of not getting into arguments and stuff like that, because why? It just raises my blood pressure, new heart. I don't need that. Community. The value of community cannot be understated. As I told John in one of our conversations, we have been working for our community for over 20 years. It's time to use them to help. And once we get out of here, we will pay it forward. Ask for help, keep an eye for each other. And now I have a new community. For the last 2 weeks, I have the cardiac rehab community. I am the youngest to tell you. There is about 20 people. And about the second day, we were cooling down, and I have to step back and just enjoy what I was seeing. They're mature people, white hair, right? They were enjoying life. They have gone through stents, ruptured aortas, open heart, and here they were still kicking and laughing. It just reminded me of the movie Cocoon from back in the 70s or 80s, just look it up. The last two, pray. I always knew the value of praying. My mom goes to a Protestant church. I have a lot of pastors in my family, so I'm kind of like the odd duckling with the Episcopal Church, which I love, especially us feisty. But I never thought of myself worthy of miracles. Through praying, especially those minutes before the surgery, I felt at peace. I never felt that. Remember all that to-do list and all the cleaning? When I was in that room doing that last prayer, I have no worries left in my head. The only closest thing I can remember was when I was in Puerto Rico. You don't do that. We used to sneak to the beach in the middle of the night. And we used to swim toward maybe 100 feet off the shore, and I used to float. When your ears are under the water, you can hear all those noises, and you feel at peace. That is the closest thing I can relate it to. So don't underestimate the value of prayer. And just like I felt that day when you guys imposed your hands on me, and I felt like the Navi praying, that's how we need to continue doing. And last, which is, I think that this is one, caught me by surprise when I wrote it down, in God's purpose. For about 30 years, I have basically been doing my career and things how I wanted. I'm close to half century now, so you get the picture. But I always serve others in one way or the other. So as I continue to be grateful for each additional day on earth, as I continue giving grace to God every morning and during the day, the evening prayers, even if I'm repeating the same thing 5 times, because I still have some memory loss and lack of attention, I still want my next chapter to be with a purpose. God's purpose. Thank you.